this problem that asks for the angles of a parallelogram, I want to remind you that a parallelogram, a shape like this, has parallel sides. That's why they call it parallelogram. It also has four sides. Two of those pairs of sides are parallel. And since it has four sides, the angles add up to not 180, but 360. Now, I'm going to ask you all to go ahead and draw this. Take a minute, and if you shout out to me if I'm going too fast, I'll slow down. But I'm going to also, I've already drawn it, but I'm also going to write in the angles that we need to find. I'll do one of them in black, and I'll use colors for the other. First of all, they already told us that one of the angles is 170. Your drawing doesn't have to be perfect. Mine's not, I know. But we'll say that this angle here is the one that's 170. It might be off by a little bit, but the drawing doesn't. The drawing is just going to help us. So we'll say this is 170 degrees. Okay. Now there are three other angles that we have to find. I'm going to call them the red, the blue, and the green angle. And while I'm at it, we'll call the one they already gave us the black angle. Okay. Again, we'll call one of them that they didn't give us the red angle. We'll call another one that they didn't give us the green angle. And we'll call this other one that they didn't give us the blue angle. That makes sense? My green doesn't look too good, but let me see if we can fix that. Green. We usually mark our angles with a little arc like that. Now I have a question. I'm pretty sure you know the answer to this, but I want you to tell me. One of those colors, one of those angles is the same as the 170-degree angle. Which one do you think, which color do you think is the same as the 170-degree angle? The red, the green, or the blue? You're right. Yeah, the red one is the same. That's part of what being a parallelogram is all about. Those two angles, we call them opposite angles, are always going to be congruent. Or, I'm sorry, their measures are going to be equal. Congruent is a technical word. You get used to it, but we won't use it as often here. Oops, 170. So this angle is 170 degrees. Get neater. Now the other two angles, we don't know what they are yet. We don't know what they are. What letter do we frequently use? Any answer is correct here, but what's a good letter to use when we don't know what something is in math? What do you think? What letter do you often see when we don't know what something is? Right, yeah, X is what we use. You could use any letter, really, but we usually use X. I'm going to stick with that right now. I'm going to call one of them a blue X. We don't know what that measure is, but we'll call it any other one. We're going to call it X, but I'm just going to write it in green is all. Now, remember what I said a minute ago. Stop me. Please shout out if I say this too fast. But since this shape, this polygon, there's lots of different words for this. This parallelogram has four sides. That means the angles add up to 360. And I want to remind you of something, a couple of things. In math, almost everything can be described with something simpler. This shape with four sides could be thought of, and you don't have to write this, you don't have to draw this, but we could think of it as two triangles. My line's not very good, but see if I made that dotted line, it actually breaks it up into two triangles, doesn't it? By the way, I could have also drawn those two triangles by making a line. It's not perfectly straight like that, right? Still two different triangles, isn't it? So although it's a parallelogram or a quadrilateral or a figure with four sides, it's also still two triangles kind of stuck together, isn't it? And remember that a triangle adds up, the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So if we have two triangles, we have to draw them, then we have 2 times 180. That's why which is 360, which is why these four angles are going to add up to 360. So we could write an equation that says what I just said, and it indicates what I just said. And I'm going to write what I just said. If I add up all four of these angles, the black angle, 170, plus the red angle, which is also 170 degrees, plus the green angle and the red angle, plus the green X. You don't have to use colors, of course. Plus the blue, which also is X. By the way, and these add up to 180. By the way, those X's, some people like to use the word invisible. There's a invisible one. It's not really the technical word, but there's a one in front of it. If you draw it, it's fine. If you write the one, it's fine. If you don't write the one, it's fine. But please know and remember that they're there. Those ones are there, even if you don't write them. Now we're going to combine our like terms. These two terms are alike because they both have degrees. Uh, did I? Yeah, okay. And I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I just saw it. Did you see what I did wrong there? I said 180, but I should have said 360, shouldn't I? I said it earlier. 360. Sorry. And again, the ones are there. So 170 plus 170, sorry about that mistake, everybody, is what? 340, I think? Yeah. So that's 340 degrees. 1x plus 2x is, I'm sorry, 1x plus 1x is 2x. And then we get 360. Let me stop here for a second. I'm thinking you could probably, yeah. So you kind of see what I'm going to do now, right? Tell me, please. Yes, I'm going to repeat what you said. Yeah, I'm going to finish it though. Um, what you said, and you're right, is that we're going to subtract 340 was the comment, and that was correct. We're going to subtract 340 from both sides. So these setups are the same kinds of things we were doing when we had triangles. It's just that they add up to 360. Again, I'm sorry I made that mistake, everybody. It said 180 earlier. And of course, if we subtract here, I think we're going to get 20 degrees, 20 degrees. And I'm thinking you could probably tell me what we have to do now to find x on both sides here. Yes, of course, we're going to divide. Very good. We're going to divide both sides by 2. I'm thinking you could do that in your head. 20 degrees divided by 2 is 10 degrees. Now, 10 degrees is correct, but it's not our answer. We needed to find our answer, but they didn't ask us what x is. What they asked us is what all the different angles are. So my question is, and I know you know the answer, but I want you to say it anyways. When we see the letter x, look in the yellow box, please. When we see the letter x, what are we going to write instead? 10 degrees. I see a letter X right here up in green. I'm zooming in on it. I'm going to erase it and replace it with green. I'm sorry, with 10 degrees, but I'll still make it green. I'm going to erase that green X and change it to green 10 degrees. I also see another X over here with the blue angle. I'm going to erase and replace that also. Like you said, when we see X, we're going to replace it. Whoops, we're going to replace it with a 10 degrees. And I'm going to make it blue. 10 degrees. Now, we're done with our work. We just have to put our answers in. And if you think about it, if you add these four up, you'll get 100. I'm sorry, you'll get 360 degrees. Okay, I'll write that down. If you add up 170 plus 170, black here. If you add up the four things that I have here, 170 plus 170 plus degrees, plus 10 degrees plus 10 degrees, you're going to get 360. Okay, if you add those all up, which we should. Okay. And so your answers will, that's what we'll put in. We already have the black one, right? So we'll just put in the blue. You don't have to use colors once again, but we'll put in the 10 degrees in blue. I'll put in the 10 degrees in green, and we'll put in the 170 in red. All right. The question was, does the order matter? And my answer is probably most of the time it doesn't. There are times you will find some problems here where they say the ratio is something like 5 to 7. 5 is smaller. So when you get your answer and you have something like that, if it says 5 to 7, if the smaller number comes first, then when you get two different answers, put the smaller one first. If they say 7 to 5, put the bigger one first. So the question was, does the order matter? To be on the safe side, put it in the same order that they have it when they do that. And there will be some questions that you'll find like that. Okay, good.